Hello, I'm Masataka Sawayama. Today I'd like to talk about the relationship between color and material. These four photographs summarize today's presentation. In this study, I will introduce a specific color reduction process that disturbs material estimation while keeping the geometry structure constant. Many previous studies have investigated the effect of color on object and material appearance. One major approach is to convert original color images into grayscale and compare their visual appearance. This approach has demonstrated that color information is critical for recognizing object and material attributes. This approach is natural considering our visual system decomposes input LMS signals into color and luminance information, demonstrated by the long history of vision sciences. In addition, this encoding process aligns with the efficient coding of natural scene images. In the cross-channel correlation analysis for natural scenes, all pairs of LMS signals showed high correlation, indicating high redundancy. Therefore, kernel extraction using PCA or ICA showed that at least luminance is separated from color component for both cases. However, when we focus on object materials, we can see that color and luminance are still highly redundant. This is an example of human skin. When the color saturation is plotted as a function of the luminance, the distribution is negatively correlated. This is because the surface of human skin has subsurface scattering, and when luminance decreases due to the scattering, the output color becomes more saturated. When this color and luminance relationship is decorrelated like this, natural translucent appearance disappears. Furthermore, the effect of this decorrelation is very complex and changes with different objects. For example, the same decorrelation operation can produce a different type of translucent impression in another object. These observations suggest that the separation of color and luminance is not so efficient for natural materials, and there might be more effective way to decompose the input signals. This study explores such a decomposition method. Specifically, I will derive that a particular condition of a classic computer graphics algorithm is connected to critical features to separate material information from the scene structure information. This algorithm is called median cut, which was developed 40 years ago for visualization of classic browser with small number of colors. First, I will explain what are the key image features for material perception, and then I will describe how these features are related to the median cut algorithm. One key feature is that color entropy is critical for material perception. This is shown in the context of wetness perception. In my previous study, an image-based manipulation technique was developed to control the visual appearance of wetness. This study suggests that the operation is effective only for images with high color hue entropy. In other words, for images with a limited number of colors, like this image, it is difficult to control the appearance of wetness. Another key feature is the presence of a robust image features for shape perception that is independent of materials. Some studies show that a spatial map of image gradient direction is such a feature for estimating a robust object geometry. One simple way to edit materials while keeping this feature is to manipulate cumulative histogram of an image, because it keeps the local intensity order of the images. More specifically, when we transfer the style of the target into the original, Editing cumulative histogram changes material appearance while keeping its shape. These key features are implicitly included in the algorithm of the median cut. So next I will explain the algorithm in detail with 3D visualization. This is the input color space RGB, where each plot represents a pixel of this stone photograph. Here is the intensity histogram of each RGB channels. Then the algorithm starts by deciding the number of colors to use for encoding. Here I will explain the case of 4. Next, it searches for the channel with a maximum variance from each RGB histogram. In this case, the B channel has highest variance. For the channel with the maximum variance, the cumulative histogram is computed to find the half point of the intensity value. That is the median of the distribution. By using this median value, the RGB space is cut at the point of the B channel's median. Then we have two 3D subspaces due to the cutting, lower and upper side. The entire process repeats this operation until the number of subspaces equal to 4. That is, for the subspace 1, the G channel is used, and the cutting is like this. For the subspace 2, the B channel is again selected, and the cutting is like this. Now we obtain the 4 3D subspaces. The important point is the mean distribution of each RGB channel is sorted in the order of subspace 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is because the cutting is based on the cumulative histogram, allowing the intensity order of the original histogram to be preserved. Although the cuts are applied to different channels depending on the subspaces, the input color space shows high cross-channel redundancy. Therefore, the intensity order of each channel can be consistently kept constant by the median cut. Finally, the last step is to take mean value within each subspace and apply this value to all points in the subspace. This is the image visualized using only 4 colors, but you can still recognize the scene structure because the local gradient direction of the image is relatively unchanged. I will show some examples of the median cut for wet and dry objects. The number of colors are 8, 4, and 2. The material differences are hard to find due to the limited number of colors. This is another example of viscous mustard. 32, 16, 8, 4, and 2. Gradually, liquid and glossy impression disappears. Next, I conducted a human experiment to evaluate the effect of the median cut on material appearance. However, one difficulty in testing material appearance is the lack of large image dataset with diverse material attributes. For example, there is no large dataset for wet and dry images. This is why I tried to sample material images from existing object image dataset using pre-trained vision and language models. In this method, a pair of pre-trained vision and text encoders are used. These encoders are trained to acquire shared representation of various text image pairs, so we can input arbitrary text to find matching images without additional training. Specifically, I input text prompt like an object is wet into a text encoder and searched for the most similar output from the image encoder. Of course, specific model might have biases when interpreting materials. Therefore, I adopted ensemble estimations from 6 different vision language models trained with different architectures and different datasets. I applied this method to the things dataset and extracted 6 material dimensions for the main experiment and 2 object categories for the control experiment. Here are the examples of wet images, dry images, glossy images, and matte images. From these images, I created 4 color conditions: original, grayscale, 4 colors by median cut, and 2 colors median cut. For the experiment, I recruited 100 participants and assigned 25 to each condition to ensure that same participant did not see the same original images. In the experiment, I adopted an ensemble judgment of material appearance to avoid category-specific responses. In each trial, 4 image pairs were presented briefly, and each participant answered which images had the target attribute. Participants' task was to judge glossy versus matte, wet versus dry, translucent versus opaque, and animal versus house for non-material tasks. Here are the results. The vertical axis shows the accuracy of each participant for each judgment with different symbols indicating different participants. First, participants answered correctly for the original images, suggesting that the sampling method by vision and language models was consistent with human judgment. In the grayscale condition, the accuracy for some material attributes slightly decreases, but the effect was weak. This is the results for the median cut images. The accuracy of 3 material judgments largely decreases compared to the original images. However, importantly, even for the 2 color images, object recognition judgment, that is animal versus house, were not affected by the median cut. These findings are consistent with the observation that median cut disturbs material appearance while keeping scene structure constant. Finally, I also address how material information can be represented in this framework because I'm talking about efficient decomposition of input images. One possibility is that material information is represented by simple summary statistics in each 3D subspace. This is an example where I assume Gaussian ellipsoid within each subspace and project all points on the ellipsoid surface. The results look still noisy but tend to retain the original material appearance. To summarize, Caesar-based quantization, that is median cut, disturbs material appearance while keeping scene structure constant, and material information might be represented as a summary statistics in each quantized subspace. Thank you.